We begin with breaking news, folks, that black smoke has risen from the chimney on the roof of the Sistine Chapel, meaning there's no result. There will be no Pope, at least after the first round of voting. Let's go to Stash Butler. He's at the Vatican for us this morning. Good evening where you are, Stash. So just bring us up to speed with what's happened.
Well, Pete, we've been standing, or rather I personally was standing in the square for the best part of 3 hours waiting for that famous chimney, as you put it, to produce some kind of sign one way or another to let us know what was going on inside the Sistine Chapel, where those 133 cardinal electors were deciding to elect a new pope. It took that 3 hours is an hour longer than it took on the first ballot in 2013, the one that elected Pope Francis. It's 2 hours later than we expected it here. And when the result finally came, the cameras out, everyone, a round of applause echoing around the St. Peter's Square, where tens of thousands of people were gathered with me. Now, it's worth saying outright that the failure of the first vote to elect a new pope does not mean that this is not necessarily going to be a quick conclave, as some cardinals were hoping. They need to reach a two-thirds majority. And there hasn't been a first vote electing a pope in several centuries at this point. The quickest in the last 100 years was on the second vote, which is coming only tomorrow. So still many more of these to come. We've got 4 more set for tomorrow, Pete.
4 more set for tomorrow. So, look, Stash, famously it's locked out, no phones and everything, so we don't really know exactly what was going inside this conclave. But already there's a lot of conjecture about, well, is this next pope going to be more conservative or more liberal? Is that how we can read into this delay today?
I think that it's really difficult, as you say, given that we are entirely locked out from going in, from what's going on in there, to read much into exactly, how this vote might be playing out, why this delay might have taken place. I think that categorization, as you said, the kind of opposition between liberal and conservative, is certainly something that people looking on the outside, are seeing in this fight, but also that it's something that really doesn't map perfectly onto the political spectrum, because you'll have lots of cardinals who have, progressive views when it comes to, say, I don't know, LGBTQ, but, very different views when it comes to other matters. So it doesn't map very perfectly, and it's very difficult to say exactly how that might be affecting things going on, particularly in this first vote that just took place right now.
We heard a big roar when that black smoke emerged not so long ago. It was about 30 minutes ago, Stash. How are the crowds there? How's the atmosphere this evening?
Well, I think I have to say, people were waiting there for a long time. When I got there, again, about 3 hours or so, or 2.5 hours before that smoke emerged, I chatted to someone who was sitting next to me who'd been sitting on her seat by the gate for 3 hours already. So some people were in that square for a very long time. Some people also leaving, as the night drew on. But, certainly a lot of excitement. I think just the sheer quantity of people, tens of thousands. It felt almost as busy as the funeral from where I was standing, Pope Francis' funeral, that is, just 2 weeks ago. So I think a lot of excitement. I think people will have read the news, they will have known that this vote was unlikely to produce a pope outright, but nonetheless, people are excited to be part of a historic moment.
You mentioned, Stash, there's 2 more in the morning session tomorrow and 2 more in the evening session, votes that is. Is that how things are planned at this stage?
Yeah, that's right. So we're going to see 2 votes, as you said. Then the cardinals, they're going back now to Casa Santa Marta, where they're staying in a kind of dormitory, essentially also locked off from the outside world. They'll be bussed there, bussed back, no communication with anyone during that journey. And then, yes, as you said, voting twice in the morning, twice in the afternoon. The last 2 conclaves took 2 days to elect a pope, so we could have a pope by Friday.
OK. Well, it looks likely. Stash Butler, thank you so much. We'll talk to you again in half an hour.